over the years, it became more obvious to me that it was exciting to look at how to help companies be successful through their people. So in my both corporate practice, but also in my consulting practice, I focus on all of these different remedies, interventions, programs, and a variety of different ways to really help people be successful, whether as a leader or as a very successful, highly effective team. So what's interesting is people spend a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of energy on big engagement strategies. One of the things that I utilize in my programs is a very foundational model. I call it basic, but I don't want to undervalue it. But it's a 4-part model that is just the grounding of what's critically important as a leader to engage your people. And what I often find in my coaching practice or in the work that I do as a consultant is managers just don't do this. And so they just don't get around the basics. So it's really essential that all 4 parts are followed. And what I really profess to the clients that I work with is that bringing them all together is important, but also making it a part of your regular leadership. It's not meant to be something that's added on as a huge, I have to do this now. So the 4 parts are quite simple. There's a lot behind each one of them. So we start with setting expectations, clear expectations. This doesn't just mean setting objectives. I hope that most companies, they don't all, but I hope that most companies have an effective objective setting process. They use SMART goals. They use a lot of the tools and practices that are available to people. This is more about the nuances. This is more about how do I expect you to work? This is more about how do we relate? This is more about team norms and how do we support each other. So oftentimes in my practice, I find that a lot of the issues that arise in teams come as a result of mismatched or uncommunicated expectations. And so really setting clear expectations and all of the nuances behind that is job 1. The second step is about removing obstacles. We don't really think of obstacles as clearly as we should. We often think of there's an obstacle to a deadline, there's an obstacle to a financial resource, but there's so much more to it. And what do we do about it? And how do we as leaders make sure that those fantastic expectations that we've set are achievable? So that's job 2. The third piece of it is effective feedback. I often say to people that while the entire model is important, feedback, if you can do just this alone, has unbelievable value because people want to be developed and they want to know how they're doing. So in this part of the model, there's a very clear feedback tool that's used, a very clear feedback process. It takes a lot of the emotion and the awkwardness and the fear out of giving feedback. And people really learn to ingrain it. At first, it's a little awkward. It's a little difficult at first, but people then learn to ingrain it, and they're so thankful to have a way to talk about feedback and really to look at feedback as a gift and not as such a hard thing. And then the final piece of it is about celebrating success. So, and we don't just mean having parties or giving awards. There are so many different ways that we can relate to someone and give them the recognition that they want. So oftentimes we give people recognition that's in a form they don't want it. And so learning what's important to your people, the one thing I see often is that people will be publicly recognized in a large group of people, and there's nothing that they want less than to be publicly recognized. So learning how to recognize our people and what's important to them, and then delivering it in a way that's really valuable to them. So that's the basic model. As I said, it's pretty foundational, but what's behind each one of the boxes is really where the money is.